So next up, we'll get into the next one. We have Arne Giske or Jiske. I'm sorry if I said it wrong. Arne is a course creator, traveler, and digital product launch agency owner who leads the millennial entrepreneur community with over 80,000 young members around the world. In just a few years, he's sold seven figures of products, services, and software by leveraging Facebook groups. His number one value is community and loves helping people build their communities too. Please welcome Arne Giske or Jiske. I'm sorry.
Hey, all good. No, you got the name just right.
Which one is it, Jiske or
Arne Giske?
Giske. Thank you, Arne.
No problem. No problem. What's going on, guys? Hey,
What's
Charlie.
up? So Charlie Moore here from KusH, back to Sustainable You. Arne, dude, what the first moment that I met you, you inspired me to a whole new level.
Thank you, man.
You're one of the most genuine, humble guys out there, and you have such a big, huge vertical value. And you come from the epitome of sustainability from the digital world, and what you're teaching and educating people absolutely has blown my mind. I want the world to know of who you are, and I'm going to keep pushing to make sure the world knows of you. So Arne, just give a quick little bio of who you are, man, and let's just jump right in because you're on fire. It's
for sure.
Cool.
Thanks, man. And hey, everybody, for being here. You know, you guys could be spending time watching all kinds of stuff online right now, but you guys are showing up to learn and get better and explore these topics. So that says something about all you guys. And Charlie, of course, you and the team for putting this on. So love it. Happy to be a part of it. And yeah, a little background on me. I've been specializing in building up Facebook groups for the last couple of years. Really just helping anybody who has a mission and a movement and wants to bring more people into their world. The best way to do it these days is through a Facebook group. So yeah, we've had a ton of fun building up groups, figuring out how to monetize them, and create a really good experience for all the members while you're at it. So super excited to help you guys with that today and show you how it ties in with sustainability.
Dude, I love it. I love it. So how do you build your expertise to this? Because to me, that is such a specific, unique niche. And it blows my mind that you figured it out and you're nailing it. And I love it. What brought you here?
Yeah, so the biggest moments for me were just, of course, the massive failures first, where I had 4 failed groups that, completely wasted my time, that all died off for one reason or another. And every single one of those taught me a different lesson. And then my 5th group, which is now the one that's about to hit 80,000 members, that one, I got to this point where I had 1,000 members. And I remember how distinctly that day was because I realized I was onto something. I thought, okay, holy crap, this is incredible. I have 1,000 people in this group. Imagine if you had an event and 1,000 people there all waiting to hear from you. That would be just massive. So I thought, I have 1,000 people here, even though they're all not all in the same room. That's really something big. So that's what kind of started my quest on really trying to understand community dynamics, specifically around Facebook groups, and how to give people the best experience possible while making sure that I'm showing up and getting well compensated for my time as the group leader. Because we can be community leaders and industry leaders at the same time when you know which puzzle pieces to put together.
I love it, man. I love it. And from that, why should people care about this now? Why should people really understand this? And I think everyone needs to know this. So hit them high right now. You have listeners. This is going to be getting broadcasted and repeated. Give your insight. Why should people care about this right now?
2 huge things. So what does it take to create any movement, create any business? People. So how to get more of those people? We want to create a community around whatever it is that you have going on. Nonprofit, for-profit, community, side hustle, just community just for fun, whatever it is, it's always going to take people. And when you know how to create and curate that community around whatever topics you want to talk about, whatever people you want to bring together, you are unstoppable. Imagine if you have 1,000 people that are interested in what you have to say. You have a business, or you have a movement, or you have some people that are behind what you have going on too. And where that ties in with the massive volume of people out there is Facebook has 2.7 billion monthly active users on their product. 2.7 billion. And really the only way I was able to grow my group to 80,000 now is because I figured out how to make Facebook do the heavy lifting and send me the group members. I didn't go out and spend, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars on ads or anything to blow this up. I figured out what Facebook likes. I gave it what it liked, and then it sends the people my way for me. So once you know how to tap into this pool of traffic, it just keeps flowing.
I think, and I'm witnessing it. That's what, you know, I wanted Arne here on this show because I've seen the community. He's built a digital community of action takers, and it's amazing. And I see all these new groups pop up and get invited to these groups, and the single common denominator is Arne. I love it.
Yeah, and I like how you mentioned that, because like that's one of the biggest reasons why I love what I do is I get to help leaders step up. And if I can work with leaders like you and anybody out here watching that wants to build a movement, build a community, build a business using community, I know that everything I do to empower one person, they're going to go and they're going to turn around and do it for thousands of people. And just knowing that ripple effect is huge. So that's such a motivator for me when, you know, I might be able to help somebody just do one little simple thing. And then like one person I talked to, their group went from 7,000 to 22,000 members in the last 6 months. And the first 7,000 took them like 3 years. Mm-hmm. So I love being able to be a part of that and knowing that they get to help all those people in their group now and change their lives, their families' lives, everybody in their circle's lives. So it just keeps rolling on. It's that ripple effect.
It is, and I'm witnessing it. So tell me, tie your vertical into sustainability, because me and you always talk sustainability. Mm-hmm. And you hit me with something when we were hanging on your balcony that day, and you mentioned how your vertical and how your expertise ties into sustainability from that digital communication piece. Go into that a little bit. Explain to people like how it all ties in.
So I feel like you got a better memory than me on this one. You must pull out something really cool. So drop it in my ear real quick, and I'll jump in there, because I had a different answer, but yours sounds cooler.
Well, you were talking about how how everything moving forward with the digital world is using your services as not just your services, but your expertise. You created something. You created a digital society. That's what I see. Mm-hmm. You've really created this cool, unique, niche digital society. And I see it as so empowering that we can use that as a tool of creating the solutions, of bringing those.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and that's why I want you to, you know, to just really hash out. I mean, I think people need to know a little bit more about why use it for just blah. Why use it just for mediocrity? Yeah. Let's build greatness upon this. So yeah, jump on in, man. However you.
Yeah, I love that. So like, one of my favorite things about the community stuff for sure is as creators, as entrepreneurs, as leaders, we're not always sure which direction to go into, and we don't know exactly how to help people out. So often what happens is, you know, we'll sit in our garage, tinker and create and make all this stuff, and then we bring it to the world, and then the world goes, I don't like it that much. And we're like, crap, I just spent 3 months doing this. Like, I thought you guys were going to think this is awesome. I think it's awesome. I just spent 3 months doing it, you know? But when you have a group, you get to do what I like to call audience co-creation. So you can literally validate everything down to the headlines, the bonuses, the features, the feedback, get, you know, beta testers, get people sharing and helping you co-create whatever it is that you're trying to do. And once you hit a snag and see that people aren't responding to some certain message, or they just don't think it's that cool of a product for whatever reason, you get to have that open communication with them and say, okay, why not? Like, what do you think is missing? What else would you want? And then they'll tell you, I want A, B, and C. And you say, okay, cool. Now A, B, and C is a part of it. Now do you want it? They're like, yeah, absolutely. So having the ability to just have that instant feedback from your community is a game changer. I love that.
I think that's it. It's so true because you have that loyal following that wants to be a part of that community.
Mhm.
So you're empowering their voice through it. And I think that's great. By the way, if anyone has any questions, type them in. We'll get to the questions as they start popping up. So Arnie, me and you are used to working from home. So it doesn't seem like COVID's really affected us too much with what we do at all. So we already had a leg up or a one up, so to say, on non-disruption of our own personal comfort. So with COVID, okay, and your expertise and your opinion, what can people be doing right now at home to stay proactive, stay positive, and taking more steps towards sustainability? What do you think?
Yeah, so I think some of the biggest things, people just aren't used to working from home, like you said. This is giving us some extra kind of time on our hands. And I know a lot of people just have this kind of like urge to create, where otherwise they would, go outside and create things outside, but now we have to create things inside. So I think there's no better time than to create any kind of community that you're interested in and just start running with it. Whatever you are excited about, passionate about, whatever you want to talk about, start a group, name it around those keywords, and start inviting some people who might be a good fit. And from there, you can just figure out, what you want to do with it, what you want to talk about, and keep going from there. So, like for some examples, go join some of the other groups that you might be interested in. So just search into Facebook, search in the groups, type in some stuff that you like, and go join some groups, see what they have going on, see what you can do to make it better and make a cool space of your own.
I think that's I think that's a phenomenal first step to do is to find that group, get engaged with the group, understand the dynamics of how the group works, and seeing the expectations of it. So here, is there a vetting process for your group? That's a great question because you taught me this. You better have some questions.
Yes. So that was a really cool thing that Facebook dropped about 3 years ago now, was the ability to ask people 3 questions as they join the group. So you can ask them things like, hey, what's your number one question about Facebook groups? Hey, would you like a free guide on group growth? If so, leave your email here, that kind of thing. And you can get to know your members. You can pick up their contact data, and you can also decline people who might not fit whatever you have going on in your group. Like if you see somebody that's just like I have a local entrepreneur meetup group, and I get people all the time that are joining from like super random places in the world. I'm like, you're not in Miami. I'm sorry, you're not a fit for the group. So you can set any filters you want and get people in there.
I think that's important that you just brought up too about that specifics, how you just said you're not from Miami, so you can't be a part of this. It's important to filter. It's not about volume, right? A lot of people think that it's like a fan page. The more you have and all based on quantity. Explain that. Just break that down. Explain why.
Yeah. So first, I'll give you guys a tip. Don't start general groups. There are so many groups now that general groups just don't get the same kick that they used to. Like my group is pretty general, like the 80,000 one, millennial entrepreneur community, a whole generation, no niche really besides, entrepreneurs. And it has a wide variety. And I love the diversity in the group, but don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people that have nothing to do with what the majority of the people in the group are doing. Like I've had people come on, they're like, hey, I'm looking to, import coffee from South Africa. And then like everybody else in the group is like, we have nothing to do with that, So when you have a more crafted message and a more crafted target market, you get people who actually have the same interests, same topics, are better at networking and connecting. Like I have another group that's under 2,000 members that I started like sometime last year. It could be, 5 or 10,000 by now if I let everybody in. But we declined most people and we just kept the quality up. So the discussion's great, and I'm getting a lot more of the ideal people in there.
What would you say is, not to give out any IP? Oh, here, we got a question. What was your greatest challenge you had to overcome as an entrepreneur? And what was the solution to keep you moving forward? It's a great question, Ryan. And Arnie, I know you've been through some heavy hits. So yeah, go into it.
Yeah. Um, I think really my biggest challenge was getting out of my own way and being able to start building systems and a team that did a lot more work than I did. Because especially as we all start, we have less money to put into the business. We're always short on time. We're running like crazy. And what happens is once you get to a certain point, you get some money coming in, you have the ability to start hiring, to start creating systems, to start creating things you can repeat over and over again for success. And a lot of people stay in that solopreneur mode of tearing their hair out. And I was, very much forced into growing a team and systems because it just so happened as my business was really taking off for the first time, I was doing the whole digital nomad thing. I was traveling all over the world. And I remember the very first time that I became like hyper productive in less time was I was doing this trip in Europe, and I was going to like all these different countries. Sometimes I would literally only have an hour or 2 hours a day to work. So I made it count, and I made sure to make it count extra by having my team help, by having automation set up, and just really, really focus on things that gave me leverage long term. So building systems that do the work for you, building the team that will do the work for you, and building your mindset to think past next Friday will change the game.
I was living vicariously through you when you were backpacking Europe. So I had a blast with all your posts. I'm like,
wow, I'm glad you enjoyed the
trip. That's great. So to take a step back real quick, not to give up any of your IP, but all right, so join a group, good first call to action, okay? And since it's Earth Day, let's try to look at maybe joining some green groups out there. What would you say would be maybe like a number 1 or 2 thing that if someone was to start a group, what to think about? So to minimize that generalization that you were stating, how do you find that niche?
The most important thing you need to work on is the who. Like I could talk about this for hours. I know we don't have hours, but the who is hands down the most important thing. Because if you did everything I told you to do, followed all my other trainings, bought my course, took the steps, and blah, 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 and built a giant group of 10,000 of the wrong people, then it's not going to help. So really, really knowing who you want to get together and where you want to take them, what kind of a movement, what kind of a business, what kind of community. If you can just really sit and think on some of those, you'll be golden. And it doesn't have to be like perfect, like I help doctors in Tampa do blah, 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 like super niched, but you got to have a general idea of where you want to go. And that will help give you clarity in moving forward. Because if you don't have that clarity, you're not going to be inspired to move forward.
I love it. And everyone who's listening in right now, this guy, Arne, is the man. I mean, he's so passionate about helping so many people. So listen clearly to what he's saying, because he really built a system that absolutely phenomenally works. So with Joe Rizzo, I'm gonna tie in with this. So the big picture goal, but I also want you to answer with that big picture goal what you'd like to see from the societal change, because now we're living in this digital tech, confined world, as we're all consolidated in our own homes. What would you like to see as that big picture? And for my question, what would you like to see change in 5 years as an automation, so to say, an optimization? Me and you use the same words and we think similarly. I love it. So what is the Arne solution? What do you think in 5 years would you like to see that creates more, a better, that if we look back, we don't do those old ways anymore?
Yeah, I think one of the coolest things that's been happening, especially lately during all this coronavirus stuff, is how much more people are showing up to care for each other and be connected. Even with the extreme disconnection that we're facing of being stuck in our apartments and our houses and stuff, I've never seen people be more compassionate to show up, to help, to make sure that their neighbors are taken care of, that their city is taken care of, that their online communities are taken care of. And that kind of flip into leadership mode and care for the people around you is incredible. And the second layer to that is the advancements of the tools that make that easier. Things like this, this Earth Day Summit, and all the cool Zoom events that are happening, and Facebook groups. And there's just so many new ways to get people connected and find their people. And I love that. That's one thing I really saw happen more and more and more in the last 5 or 10 years was that phenomenon of no matter who you are, you have a community. You can go out there, you can find them, you can be a part of it, and that's your people. So I've always loved that, and I know that's just going to get more advanced and better. And when all this stuff opens up even more, we get to go hang with our people in person. So I'm looking forward to it for sure.
Dude, this is why I wanted you here. You know, your genuine approach to all this as a solution to create a better world now and a better future. And with that niche, Arne, I just want to thank you so much for coming on. And we're going to be doing round 2 interviews. And I want to go in deep into Arne Giske. And I hope everyone here has, I'm telling you, join Millennial Entrepreneur Community. Join up with Arne. Listen to what he's got. He's got solutions every single day. Arne, thank you so much for joining us. And it's all a matter of Earth Day, sustainable you. Any last minute statement that you'd like to say?
Last minute statement. Go do something about it. If you got something that's been on your mind to take action on, do it. It's not going to help you sitting in your head.
Yo, I love you, brother, man. That was awesome. All right, Rizzo.
I too. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. Thanks, Charlie. That was great.
I like the birds, man. I love the birds going on.
You hear that?
Yeah. I don't know where they are in your world, but they're amazing, man.
I'm in the trees. Dude, you don't know where I am. This is just, I'm in the trees. There's trees over here. That was great. All right, awesome.